Hi, everybody. It's time to let's talk houseplants. Hi, I'm Linda. I'm a great grandma, and I am not a horticulturist, and I am not an expert on houseplants in any way, shape, or form. I have just been raising houseplants for 50 years and thought I would share what I have learned over the years and still learning from the horticulturists. And I just want to put it in plain language for you. You know, when I watch those YouTube videos of house plants, everybody there are horticulturists, and they own a landscaping business, or a nursery, or a greenhouse or shop, or they are backed by corporations that give them plants to showcase. And when they're talking about house plants, they use the horticulture name, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I got to thinking, maybe a lot of people are just like me. We don't understand the word they're saying. So I thought I would do my videos with just the everyday names, if there is an everyday name. And I am not going to try to pronounce the scientific names of these plants. And also, something else I want to make mention is I buy my plants out of my pocket. Nobody gives me their plants to showcase for them. No corporation is paying for me to do these shows. If I show a product like a house plant food or a tool or something, those corporations are not paying me to show it. It just happens to be what I use. So I don't have hundreds of plants like those other videos do. But I've got enough to hold us for a few months of doing once a week videos. Now, today I've got a special plant for you. Oh, my goodness. Now, this is a brand new plant that just was found 2 years ago when the pandemic happened. Let me tell you about the Philodendron Birkin. Can I have the plant itself, Jamie? This is the Philodendron Birkin. Isn't this the most gorgeous plant? It is a chimera. And this plant is an accident. It's a mutation. 2 years ago when the pandemic started, a nurseryman was going around doing what he has to do with his plants, and he was looking at his Rojo Congo plant, and he noticed some variegated leaves coming up in the middle of the plant that didn't even look like the rest of the plant. The leaf shape, the leaf size, the variegation, nothing. It did not look like the plant. Wow, he said. So he cut off these variegations and he rooted them. And I'll tell you how to do that one day. Probably today, but I mean in a minute. He rooted them and he was successful in getting a bunch of them done. And they sold like hotcakes because during the pandemic, a lot of people in the UK, they were completely locked down. And so a lot of those people went into raising houseplants because you can order them online and get them delivered to you. Just to have something to do, to make it feel like they were outside. And these plants, probably not even this size, went for 300 pounds. That's 366 US dollars. And they went like hotcakes. So he just kept making them so that they could sell, and he was getting top dollar. Now, in the U.S., I haven't heard the original pricing for it, but when the other nurseries got drift of the plant and how much money they were getting for them, they started doing the same thing. Well, now there is an abundance of the Birkins, so the prices came down. Now in the U.S., the first amount that I heard was $60 for a plant smaller than this. It probably had 3 leaves on it. Well, $60 is a lot of money for a little teeny plant. I bought this one for $15. So the prices have come way down. So this is a mutation, a chimera, whatever you want to call it. But it is a miracle nonetheless, and it is drop dead gorgeous. Now, the problem with this plant, and I don't know that it's for real or not, because this plant is so new, they don't know what problems might come up. And so what I've heard some people say is that these variegations tend to fade away into the original green plant. Can you see that, Jamie?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is what color the leaf is when it's a brand spanking new plant. It's pure green. And then if you notice, the next plant, the next leaves come up with the variegations. Now here's what the problem is. Some are saying that these start turning back to the dark green. And they don't know why. I've heard some people say that they haven't had any problem with their Birkin reverting to the dark green leaves. Now, I know that they tell you if you want to keep your variegation, keep it in bright light, not direct sun on any house plant. Direct sun on any house plant, especially coming through a window pane, will burn it. But bright light, like in my bedroom, that front window is very bright. The sun comes in big time. But I have sheer curtains up, and I have them closed. And then I have a stand that's real tall. It's a shelves about like that. And about what, 2 feet away from it, Jamie?
The shelf?
Yeah.
I'd say about 1.5 feet.
Oh, okay. So I've got it away from the window enough that it's not going to get burnt. And then I have that sheer curtain blocking the direct rays, and they love it. So to keep the variegation, make sure you have it in a bright, sunny area, but not direct sun. So if your plant does start to revert back to the dark green because you've set it away from the window and maybe it's starting to revert back, put it back close to the bright light so it can get a lot of light and see if that'll help. So far, mine hasn't done anything. I've only had mine 2 weeks and I've already got one new leaf and another one coming out. Now, to water and feeding and humidity, most tropical house plants require the same treatment, same care, but not all. There's a few exceptions, and when we get to those plants one day, I will tell you that. But most house plants are tropical, except for cactus and succulents. And so what I'm about to tell you on how to take care of this plant is pretty much the same thing with a lot of other house plants. Now, when you get this plant, it's not going to need to be repotted for probably a couple of months. I haven't looked at the root ball here, and since I've gotten it, let's look at it and see what it looks like. Can you see that, Jamie?
Yep, one sec. Let me adjust this.
Now, it does not need to be repotted because all you see is a few roots. And the rest of it is doing fine, so we can leave it in this pot. Here's some root coming out of the bottom. That's a good thing. That means it's growing. So we can leave it in this pot for another couple of months at least. Now, when you see it coming at the roots coming out of the bottom where these holes are, that's a sign that you're going to have to repot it. We're going to repot a plant, not today, but another plant that I have to repot anyway, and I'm saving that for you guys. Now, to water this plant, and any plant, you're going to want to water it after you test it with your fingers. Feel down in there to the first knuckle, this big knuckle here. If it's the least bit damp, don't water it. Some houseplants like to be constantly moist, but not soppy wet. Some houseplants want to be thoroughly dried out before you water it again, and just so happens this is one of those kind of plants. So this one does not need to be repotted yet, and it doesn't need to be watered because it is very moist. Now, when you feed it, you want to follow the directions on your plant food. Some people like to give it a very weak solution of plant food in every time they water. Some people like to give it the full amount recommended on the box or the bottle once a month. That's up to you and your plant. Your plant will let you know if they don't like it. They will get brown spots showing that they have some problems. Now, if you have overwatered your plant, it will get yellow leaves. It'll start turning yellow around the edges especially. That says that you've given it too much water and probably too much plant food too. Now, if on the edges of your leaves it starts to get brown and crusty, that means either you've got too much sunlight on it or you haven't watered it enough. Humidity. Like I said, these are tropical plants. Most house plants are tropical plants. They like humidity, and homes just do not offer them the kind of humidity they like. Now, you can buy a humidifier, or you can, it's not really all that great, but it's better than nothing, I guess. You can set bowls of water around the plant, or put a tray underneath that catches the water when you water the plant, and put pebbles on there. Put a thick layer, set your plant on top of the pebbles, and put a whole bunch of water in here, but not where it'll be absorbed by your plant. And what'll happen is that water will evaporate and supposedly give it humidity. I've done that for years. I never saw any different. Some people say spray your plant. I don't like doing that on most of my plants because that leaves an opportunity for disease and bugs. I have, but I don't like it. Now, the next thing is ventilation. They have to have ventilation. Remember, these plants are outside in their natural habitat, so they need air circulation. So make sure, if you have them in a particular room, make sure that room has maybe a fan in the room to make the air move around. That's real important for them. Transplanting is extremely easy. You saw how easy it was to get the plant out of the pot. And then you're going to just find a pot that's one more size up. You're going to put dirt in the bottom of the pot, and you're not going to spread the roots on house plants like you do in a garden. You just leave those roots alone. They're much more sensitive. take it out of the pot, set it down in that layer of dirt. Make sure that the top of the root ball is underneath the rim of the new pot, because you don't want it to be even with the new pot rim, because when you water it, it'll flow off into the floor. So you start putting your dirt in around it, push the dirt down in there nice and tight, and then water it. And here's how you water a plant. A lot of people, and me included, they don't have the patience, if you have a lot, to do the right thing. And that is, you water a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there. And you wait, let the root ball absorb it. Then you do that about 3 or 4 times until the water comes out of the bottom of the pot. Jamie, let me have that cover pot.
You mean this one?
No, the white one, yeah.
That's what I pointed out.
This is a cover pot. It doesn't have any holes in the bottom, but it's a lot better looking than this pot, isn't it? Now, a lot of people forget not to sit this pot down in a cover pot without something in the bottom to keep the plant from sitting in water. We couldn't find anything, so I put curlers down in there.
That was my idea.
So Jamie's a genius, and it works beautifully.
I just decided to put something worthless down there.
You set it in the cover pot, and look how much nicer that plant looks in a cover pot. But let me show you something even better. Jamie, would you hand me the cover pot cover? Now, you'll probably have to put something in here to
I wasn't prepared for that.
I wasn't either. I didn't know it was going
Well, I know what to do. I know exactly what to use.
All right, you make sure you got something underneath there to raise it up. You can put, if it's too big, you can put another plant on the other side, and it makes a beautiful arrangement. But look how much better that looks for your decor. It really dresses up the decor. Now this, I got at Goodwill. This was a $4.99. It had a green tag sale, which meant 50% off. And then it had 20% off for Senior Day. So I paid $1.49 for it. I love sales. I bought a bunch of stuff, and I'll be showing you a bunch of them as with each video, but you don't have to spend a lot of money on pots, cover pots. Now this can double as a riser. Just turn it upside down and you've got a riser. This is fun to go out shopping for cover pots and risers and the like. Now, if you don't want to stick your finger down in the plant to see if it's damp, you can always use a water meter.
Show them how it works. You have 3 different settings: light, moisture, and pH. Set it to moist. Stick it down into it. Let's see if I can actually get close enough to do this. Hold on. As you can see, it's on the green. So green is good, blue is oversaturated, and red needs watering.
So you can always do that if you don't want to trust your finger or put your finger in the dirt. These aren't expensive. That's why I have them.
I think we bought it for like $10.
Yeah, I can't afford anything expensive. So if I got it, it's not expensive. So there you have, let's see if I've got everything I wanted to tell you. Okay, I think that you've got everything you probably need to have a healthy plant. If you have any questions, just email me. My email address is always underneath all my videos. I'll be happy to send you a printout. Well, not a printout.
PDF.
But, not even a PDF. I'll just copy and paste what I have written for this plant so that you can have it and just follow it with any of your house plants, except for a few things that are tropical, and all cactus and succulents you can't do it. But for most house plants, what I told you today is for all house plants. And I wanted to be able to show, I'm going to show you this house plant one day, what I've done here. And then this one over here, what I did here. So I've got a lot to show you, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope this helps you. Please email me if you have a problem, and I'll try to find out how to solve it if I don't know how. Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.